hear us?
Yeah, I hear you well.
All right, let's go to Will Kunkel for the first question.
Hey, Russell, Will Kunkel with Fox 46. Just that first drive, how much did that kind of unfortunately set the tone for the offense? Was it tough to get back on track? And then how did you guys think you played throughout the day as an offensive line?
Yeah, I think offenses are all about cadence and rhythm, and when you come out, you want to have some good positive plays, really get things moving down the field. But we started with getting hits on the quarterback, which in our room is completely unacceptable. Starting the game where, getting the quarterback sacked and hit, that's that just it can't happen, So unfortunately, that was probably what happened throughout the most of the game. Tons of hits on the QB, negative plays, and hats off to a good Chicago defense. They really got after us up front today.
Go to David Newton and then Miles Simmons.
Hey, Russell, what was said after that first series? I think Teddy sacked on the second play, interception after that, and we saw him scrambling for a lot. And when you've seen this over the years, what type of impact does that have on a quarterback's mindset?
Well, I think obviously, I think Teddy Bridgewater is special unto himself, and it's the same thing we always hear. He's always positive, always cool, calm, poised, in control, it's the same directives we always receive from him. This exuding confidence and belief, that we can overcome and get better, and really start pushing things down the field. And I personally say I didn't show up as much as I would have hoped today in order to fulfill what he wanted to see out of us up front. So I personally have a lot of work to do.
Did you see that rush though, like you mentioned, the pass to DJ Moore where he missed him wide open, the interception at the end? Did you see that wearing on him though?
No, not necessarily. Perhaps up front we could have protected just a little bit longer to make a little bit more of a clean throw for him. So I mean, when you get hit all the entire game, and you're trying to get the ball out and do things on time with timing. That stuff affects you, so when you just can't get him hit, so I thought it was a good throw on Teddy's part, and we just missed it just by a little bit, but that's always the story in the loss. It's always a small margin of error, which usually leads to losses when you can't overcome those big mistakes like that.
Russell, when you guys came out for that last drive after Chicago punted, following that 4th and 2 that you guys couldn't get, how confident were you that you were going to be able to get down the field and score and at least tie the game up?
Yeah, good question. So I would hope, actually I know that everybody on the team really believes that was going to be the drive in which we were going to score, tie up the game, and ultimately end up trying to win the game towards the end, whether it's overtime or however it shaped up, So the belief was there. We just weren't able to execute and deliver as an offense at the end.
All right, let's go to Brett Jensen and then Josh Klein.
Russell, can you talk about the red zone issues? We've talked about this all year with you guys in various times, and just the problems that you guys are having scoring once you get down there. Are you seeing something that's not happening or should be happening, or what are you seeing that's the problem for this?
Yeah, just in my tenure in the NFL, the red zone is all about focus, attention to detail. You're dealing with a short field, so ultimately that means that you cannot make mistakes. You have to be so much more crisp, and the alignment needs to be on, and you need to protect. All those things come together in the red zone. If not, there's much more of a magnifying glass, when it comes to the errors or the shortcomings that, any player can make. So we have to execute in the red zone. We can't do that. We can't have those mistakes. We're getting good plays, and from the coordinator, and we're not delivering. So we just really need to hone in that a little bit more, and just try to get 1% better every single day and see how it shapes up.
Is there, Russell, hey, it's Josh from the Riot Report. Does inconsistency just kind of come with being a young team with not a young coaching staff, but a new coaching staff, and is it acceptable to be inconsistent on a week-to-week basis?
Oh, of course not. It's never acceptable to be inconsistent, especially when you're playing a really good team. And think about playing, really good teams is that the margin of error again is it's so small, and the most smallest mistakes or the minutia of those mistakes can end up like forcing you to lose the game. Honestly, this is a game that's going to humble us. I think perhaps we need to be humbled a little bit more. And humility does two things. Humility, one can both with pride, right, or bow down and try to serve. Bows down in servitude. So I'm believing that's the character of our team. The values that we have is that we're going to get back to the drawing board Monday. We're going to watch the film, correct those mistakes, and really come back in Wednesday, and start our effort to go off and win the following game against New Orleans.
All right, let's go to Miles Simmons and then Jonathan Alexander.
Russell, I mean, you sort of alluded to this earlier, but 2 false starts today, and Matt Rule was talking about just the offense in general being out of sync. Is there anything you can put your finger on as to why those things happened?
Yeah, it's a lack of focus on my part. 2 false starts in a game. I mean, it just can't happen. I think, you lowered your percentage of actually being able to score when you have 1 penalty, when you have two of them, or throughout the entire drive or even the game. The probability goes down of you being able to score. I can't do that. Like, I'm 11 years in, and that's what I'm really pointing to. That focus, that attention to detail on my part. That's not leading by example. So I'm going to need to really work on that to make sure I'm hearing things the right way and I'm understanding them, and then focusing and being attentive about from play to play.
Hey, Russell, you may have answered it, but I was just wondering, what do you think is holding you all back from being consistent and where you all want to ultimately be?
Yeah, ultimately we want to be a rhythmic offense where we can pretty much score at will, and in order to do that, we just need to put ourselves in a better situation where vets like myself can't make mistakes, whether it's the penalties, whether it's assignment, all those things come together and really matter down the stretch. So until we correct those things as an offense, we can't reach the fullness of who I know we can be, and we're going to keep working. I know that. I think we have a hungry, chippy group, who wants to be really good, and I'm actually looking forward to Wednesday. I think we're a resilient team, and we'll persevere through this. And we're going to put our hard hats on this week and get to work.
All right, guys, we only have time for 2 more, so let's go to Will Kunkel and then finish with Josh Klein.
I think I had my hand raised by accident, so Josh, take it away, Big Cat.
Sure. Hey, Russell, thanks for taking the time. You mentioned being humbled by the game of football. What does that mean exactly when you say that specific? Like, can you expand on that?
Yeah. I think football is a lot like life. Sometimes you want things to go your way, and you really believe it will be as such, and it just doesn't shape up the way you had hoped. And then you got to go back to the drawing board, figure things out, check things personally in your life. Well, I guess in this analogy, check your play, right, or your attention to detail and focus and the things that are being required of you, and come back with a better effort, and like so when I point at humility, I'm pointing at a willingness, for players to take individual responsibility, for the collective, and I think we have that, on our team. I think our values, are conducive, with that level of servitude and care and responsibility from of one doing their job. So I guess, and I think that's what I mean by it. This can be a humbling game, especially when you prior to the game. All these games are big, and you want to come out, and have a great showing, and it doesn't happen that way. But you have to be again willing, to say it didn't happen the way we had hoped, but it can be better. We still have a ton of time, and let's allow ourselves to feel this, take it as a learning experience, and then move forward.
All right, Russell, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, everybody.